YouTubers, you know them, you love them. We've all got a favorite. Whether they're a gamer or a makeup artist or anything in between, there's something that drives us to watch their content. And the same can be said about movies. Action, comedy, horror, there's certain genres or actors that make us want to watch certain movies. So, in theory, if you were to put the two together, you'd be able to see something incredible. There seem to be two types of movies that are released that always seem to receive negative reviews and poor results. And actually, we're starting to see a kind of resurgence with this first type of gaming movies. It used to be believed that making a movie based around a game would be a recipe for failure. But with recent releases like the Mario and Sonic movie, we're seeing that good movies can still be made based around these stories. This is seen with both movies and TV shows, like The Last of Us showed us wonderfully. But the other type of movie that always suffers and brings more cringe than laughs to audiences comes from I can't even say it. Hey, IJ, can you just...
YouTuber movies.
Thank you. These movies usually come from people who have a large audience and, while they're entertaining to their fans, they usually don't translate well to those unaware of them. Everyone remembers the Fred movie, but did you watch the trilogy growing up? And did you know that growing up I watched every single one? I don't know why, I just kinda did. Now, when it comes to YouTubers, it's clear that some do have the ability to tell a good story that rivals that of traditional Hollywood films. Over the years, Markiplier has released some amazing content, especially with his most recent In Space with Markiplier, a choose-your-own adventure where you're the captain of a space crew trying to fix the multiverse. The sets look incredible, the writing is great, and it's something that's rarely seen on YouTube. But recently, Mark took a bold move from his traditional YouTube videos and is currently wrapping up his first theatrical film, Iron Lung.
I will get my freedom.
For those who don't know, Iron Lung is a small indie game that released in 2022. The game follows you in a submarine with no access to the outside world in a blood ocean. Not sure how I feel about that. You travel the depths, take some photos while avoiding a terrifying fish monster, and learn more about who you are and why you're there. It's a short game, taking less than about 2 hours to beat. Now, I came across this game from Mark's channel and thought it was interesting, but nothing groundbreaking, so when I heard that Mark was making a film based around it, I was confused at first. On the surface, this movie doesn't seem to stand a chance, but I think that's the genius behind it. Let's look at this movie carefully. First off, the source material. The game itself was released relatively recently. It's won no awards, hasn't blown up like other indie games, and hasn't been noticed by any huge names beyond YouTube. The game itself also has a very limited story. You're given clues about the story as you play, but your main focus is simply completing your tasks. If you're interested about the game itself, I'd recommend you play it for yourself first, and then if you're still confused, check out some videos online about it. There is a full story here, but it's not really the focus. So then what makes Iron Lung a perfect game for a movie? Well, the story can be easily applied to general audiences. People who know the game will watch the movie because they enjoy it, and people who don't know the game will watch the movie because it's still one that's in line with other horror movies right now. It doesn't have that stigma around it that it's a game movie because it's not widely known. Think of it this way. When Five Nights at Freddy's came out with its movie, it was met with some skepticism purely because it's a game. Years went by, and with more people becoming used to seeing Freddy in the gang, it moved on from being just a game to being pop culture. Here, Iron Lung hasn't become hugely known as a game, so people will see the title and become more interested in it. And of course, there's also the people behind the film to consider, and yes, Mark's influence.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Now, Mark is writing, acting, and editing this film, which is a huge task in and of itself. This movie has clearly been in the works for a while. And so far, we know that Jacksepticeye, another popular gaming YouTuber, is also supposed to be in the film. And the main composer for Doom Eternal is making the soundtrack. I mean, these are some big names here. As for Mark himself, he's incredibly popular on the YouTube scene. Through his projects, it's clear he understands the process of filmmaking. I mean, In Space was nominated for an Emmy. It didn't win, but it was nominated. But what makes his movie have more of a chance than other YouTuber movies? Well, that's just it. This isn't a YouTuber movie. Other YouTubers have made movies in the past for theaters or general audiences, but they tend to focus more on the brand that they've made on their YouTube channels. The Smosh movie focuses on the humor of Smosh from that time period. Was it good? No, because it wasn't made for the general public. It has that mid-2010s YouTube feel to it. And ironically, Mark was in that movie. In this movie though, we have Mark playing a role that seems to be disconnected to anything he's done on his channel. There won't be any of the characters Mark's played in the past, any reference to In Space. The story is focused around Iron Lung. The only problem will be in making the audience believe that Mark's character is not Markiplier. A project that Mark is a part of that I see this problem in is From the Edge of Sleep podcast. I listened to the first season and I absolutely love the story, but I can't stop myself from thinking about how this is Mark in the story and not Dave, the main character. And it doesn't seem like I'm the only one who thought this. His voice is instantly recognizable by his fans, so breaking this connection will be difficult to say the least. Overall, I think the Iron Lung movie has a real chance of being a great movie. I'm not sure how it'll change Hollywood as a whole, if it will, but I'm certain it has the ability to change how Hollywood views YouTube. Hollywood's typically viewed YouTube as simply a platform, rather than a place that houses thousands of creative minds ready to tell their own unique stories. Mark even talked a bit about this during his time at the Emmys.
Right? Look, I'll get to the game in a second! You want me to play the game? Ah!
Yeah, let's just fast forward this a little bit.
And it goes to show that there is still a fundamental disconnect in the world from YouTube content creators and the Hollywood and TV and whatever. And it's a world that I don't want to be part of. And I think that I actively don't want to be part of it. And that's what makes this animosity kind of pervasive, because they realize that I and none of my fellow content creators need them in any way. And the moment that they acknowledge that reality, that everything just kind of falls apart for them. And it's really hilarious.
A video for another time, but Hollywood doesn't know how powerful YouTube and online content creators can be for their team. So rather than try to learn from them or see how they can work together, they simply ignore these creative minds. I'm not saying that Iron Lung will be this groundbreaking movie that'll break all-time box office records, but I do think it has the power to open the eyes of Hollywood and show that great movies can come from anywhere. Now, that's just what I think about Iron Lung, but what about you? What are your predictions for the Iron Lung movie? Let me know in the comments. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video, and remember to chase the chaos.